Welcome to the video. I'm going to be covering the weapon upgrades. Highmane's arsenal has their own set of weapons fittings and mod kits. Weapons fittings from the vanilla game seem like they are able to be applied, but the ones that come from the mod are a lot better. So I'm going to showcase those weapon fittings and explain what each one is, and then just kind of play around with showing the differences between the stats on them and the vanilla ones. We're going to go through the upgrades and then hyper armor. Stay tuned, and if you don't want to see one section, you can skip around. In the inventory, you're going to see all these fittings, and I have 4 Zoe handers at the bottom left of my inventory, and to the right of those Zoe handers in each slot is a correlating mod that I use in them. So I'm going to use this to kind of show the comparison of the stats. And that's the Agony Gem fitting, the green one, the Master Gem fitting from Highmane's arsenal, and then your vanilla Master Weapon fitting and Advanced Weapon kit. So the first sword is 5761 with the Advanced Weapon damage kit added to it. Okay. Then we move over to the one to the right, 5660 with 23% armor penetration. And so we're just showing the vanilla stats for now. Now go down to our first one, Agony Gem fitting gave 15 damage to it, which brought it to 66 over 70, which is amazingly high. So in comparison, it thwarts the original weapon damage kit by a margin. And then here we go, our final one. The Master Gem fitting brought that one to 6064 with 23% armor penetration. So you're seeing some significant changes, at least between some of them. Now, the Master fitting is a little comparable to the Master Gem fitting, but no matter what, the Master Gem fitting is still taking your weapon up to a higher potential. Okay, so now, besides that, we have all kinds of weapon fittings going on in an inventory. You already saw the Agony Gem fitting down there. Then we have the Balance Gem fitting up here, which gives -2 stamina cost. Agony Gem down here, that one, once again, 15 damage with -10% max durability. That's an important one. I believe most of the fittings, if not all of them, lead to durability loss, which you could see here. The first sword there is 2200 durability. This one is 1980. But besides durability, they are still superior, and we're going to see how. So the Balance Gem fitting does -2 stamina cost per swing, it seems. I think that'd be very useful, especially on fast weapons. Bounty Gem fitting, which you're going to see once I actually click on it, but before we get there, that's for harvesting. So it's going to increase your harvest tools efficiency. Okay, there you go. Harvest damage. And as you can see, max durability. Now, Concussion Gem increases your concussion damage, and I'm sure that increases it much more than the vanilla, so that would be amazing, especially for the modded playthroughs with higher level thralls in it. I think this is actually perfect. And then here we go, Penetration Gem fitting. So you get a raw 20% plus, which is a large amount now. And there you go. You have your fittings. So you have your above vanilla level fittings. Now, Weapon Feather is also a fitting, but this one just makes a tool do no damage, but reduces its weight. I'm not even sure in what examples I would use this, but, you know, maybe someone out there already has an idea. You know, maybe you're a little smarter than me in this. And in that case, there you go. And the same for Armor Feather fitting. You have one that reduces the armor durability and armor, but also makes it weightless. Once again, I am not sure what I would use these for, but maybe some genius out there who's already doing this would already know, especially anyone already using the mod in the Discord. And I'm sure if I looked in the Discord server, I could probably find some reasoning behind using these things. But anyways, down to the mod kits. These emerald and ruby colored gems you see are mod kits, and they are both similar because you see 2 emeralds, 2 rubies. The difference is one is restricted, one's unrestricted. Now, I believe that has to deal with what items can be applied. Oh, real quick, I wanted to make mention of this, by the way. You can't apply more than one fitting to a weapon, but you can apply these mod kits multiple times. That's why I just dragged that over to show you that. So just like in vanilla, you cannot use fittings multiple times, but mod kits can be used over and over again because mod kits change scaling. Now, as I said before, restricted are allowing only certain weapons to be affected by it, where unrestricted does not care. But the mod kits, this one for Emerald affects agility. It makes your primary attribute, the primary attributes are normally strength, and the secondary is agility. So the primary for strength would go down to 10%, and agility would go to 100% if you were to use this mod kit. Okay? And the same would be the opposite for the Ruby one, where the strength weapon scaling mod kit would make strength the primary modifier 100% and the secondary agility modifier a 10%. And all that means is you're getting more or less strength or agility, which is good for your build. You can change a weapon that needs it. So here, you can even see the description here, okay? Just in case I didn't make that clear, the item functions by changing the weapon's primary attribute scaling multiplier, which is usually strength to 10%, and the secondary scaling attribute to 100%. So you can change a weapon that doesn't already have a high. I don't know if any weapon has 100% by default. I guess I would assume all of the finesse weapons do. But I suppose if you use this with a great sword, then you'd be able to swing a great sword with 100% agility build. So that's the real kicker to a mod kit. You can use this thing to kind of change certain weapons that already don't have a variant and just have some fun with the scaling. I mean, that way you can actually use any weapon you want as long as the mod kit can be applied to it. And I believe, I haven't really tested it, but I am going to trust that this definitely works on every Highmane's Arsenal weapon already. Now, this one is the opposite. So it doesn't really take much explanation here. Basically, you can keep these in mind if you ever want to try to use this mod, and you can swap around what weapon has what stat. But most weapons in Highmane's Arsenal already have two different weapon types. Like, they have an agility version and a strength version, so I would imagine this is also for vanilla weapons. Maybe that's what the restricted version and unrestricted have to do with that. Either way. Now, unrestricted zero weapon scaling mod kit. This one is an interesting one. This one just removes scaling from the weapon, period. So they just don't scale at all. I suppose I could imagine that would be if you already are high level. Maybe you want to take it down a notch. Now, Essence of Chaos mod kit is very powerful and also very much like a gambler's thing. It corrupts the weapon, altering its properties irreversibly for better or worse. Now, I don't have the documentation right in front of me. Okay, I literally just went and got it, so never mind. So, here we go. One thing that can happen, like I said before, is the weapon gets destroyed. Another option, according to the document, is change both of a weapon's attribute scaling values to 55%. So you get a chance to just have them both be just over 0.5% damage. I guess that means if you want to tap into both strength and agility at the same time, that hybrid build would actually be rewarded with the weapon. Another, modify an item's armor penetration, increasing or decreasing it by 2 to 8%. I don't know if there's a maximum to that. If not, that would be pretty insane. But considering it can go down, I guess that could be horrible. Modify an item's weight, decreasing it by 20 to 80% or increasing it by 20 to 200%. Oh, 200. Okay, if that happens, you're basically done for, huh? Well, depending on how heavy it is. But at some point, it'll get so heavy, I think it'll be a burden unless you're cheating your encumberment. Next, modify an item's durability. Same thing, decreasing it by 20 to 80%, which is not good, or increasing it by 20 to 100%. That is good. Modify an item's light and heavy attack damage. This one sounds nice. Increasing or decreasing it by 2 to 10. Next, modify an item's stamina damage against shields. Increasing light attacks by 50 points and heavy or special attacks by 100 points. Okay, wow. That could be really, really significant. And then finally, modifying its item's attack stamina costs, increasing or decreasing it by 10%. Another very significant one. So as you can see, the Chaos mod kit's pretty insane because you do have the option to possibly get a very hard-hitting weapon, high stamina damage on shields, or low stamina cost weapon. And then you also have a chance to just destroy it or have negatives. So I guess you would just have to spin the wheel with that one. Okay, so for the hyper armor, I'm going to just simplify it. I advise you to follow along or to refer yourself to the documentation on the Discord because there's a lot to it. And I was going to read it all out, but it is going to be almost like being in a class, like a history class or something. So I really think it'd be better if I just summarize this and make this a little more interesting. So we have 7 types of coverage, okay? Think of it like insurance, because that's what hyper armor is here. It's how much insurance do you have, okay, for this collision. So we have strong coverage, we have high coverage, average coverage, low coverage, weak coverage, no coverage. The only one that's a little different is unique coverage. That one will not follow the same trend. That one is not going to be one we're going to talk about. I'm only going to cover the 6 because talking about strong coverage to no coverage makes a lot of sense. And all I have to really do is compare each one so that we don't have to talk about every fine detail. But hyper armor is starting at a certain milliseconds into the animation, or when the hitbox starts as you strike, and it ends 100 milliseconds before you're able to start the next attack in the combo. That's what hyper armor is defined as in this mod. Now, whether it's good or not is dependent on whether it's strong all the way down to no coverage. So the milliseconds are different for each one. For strong coverage it's 100. For high coverage it's 200, and average is 300. Low it's 400. As you can see, the lower it goes, the more time it takes for the hyper armor to start. But the time which the hyper armor ends before, like it was before you're able to start your next combo attack, actually stays the same all the way to low. But on weak coverage, the only information I see is that hyper armor is only active when the weapon's hitbox is active, which means it's the lowest. Because it's only there for the hitbox. Not so good. Now, also, there are a couple notes. On strong coverage, combo openers retain hyper armor up until the earliest point they can start their next combo attack. That's because, not because. What I mean is, this is important because this is one of the only coverages that apparently has the longest hold on that during that. Even on high coverage, it will just end at that 100 millisecond point like it's supposed to. And the same can be said for average coverage. But then on low coverage, we have another change. Combo openers will not have any hyper armor. So on low coverage, no matter what you do on your first strike, there is nothing there. So it seems the only way to get a hyper armor strike going there is to already be swinging and going crazy onto your second hit. Now, weak coverage is the same. Combo openers will not have any hyper armor. And being that the weak coverage already has the weakness of hyper armor only being active when there's a weapon hitbox involved, and the combo openers don't have any, that's pretty rough. But there's a reason for that, of course. Usually that's to balance out the weapon's attacks. So it's not like it's a big deal. It's just something to know if you're trying to actively go for hyper armor. And we're going to go ahead and talk about the weapons, and I'll showcase with the documentation from the author which weapons have what type of coverage during what type of attacks. And you don't have to memorize this, but if you're going to use one of the weapons, I guess you could kind of understand what it has, and then you could actually try to activate the hyper armor on purpose in your fights. And in that case, you could, play around with it a little more by using a different mechanic other than just the block and dodge. And I think that's nice, being able to make sure your weapons don't get interrupted. So I'll help showcase which ones, and if you're using any of these weapons, all you gotta do is follow along for the weapon you care about. So I'm just gonna go page after page, and if there's a weapon you want, you go ahead and look at the page, pause it, screenshot it, or go to the Discord and get the copy yourself. And that way you'll be able to use this for reference. Something that I almost forgot is that the tier buffs reference how powerful buffs will be on each weapon. You don't control that, it's based on weapon type. And the buffs are from the mods, like healing attacks that gives you healing. Slower weapons have stronger buffs, and faster weapons have weaker buffs. Alright, and that is it for the video, guys. Now, I was going to do the weapon effects until I realized just how much content there was behind these two little topics. So instead of doing all that, because effects are going to be just as long to thoroughly get through, I'm going to do that in another video. The weapons effects will be all the unique effects, like the smoldering, the freeze, I think it was, or frost, and all the other little nice things I saw in the video before when I did a custom movesets. So I'll be able to showcase what they actually do. And honestly, I can already tell you before we get to that video, they really are pretty good effects. Like, if you're using them for end game content or maybe new game content, you know, like with mods like Cage of Calamitous, if you're familiar with that, or end game Arsenal, I think it is. If you would like to see that video and have it showcased, you're going to see it there. Take care and have a good day, and thank you for watching.
Bitch start tripping, now I'm blue. Niggas, man, I can't win for losing, cause I got too many haters, man. Used to be the paper boy, grew up now I'm neighbor, man. Player 1, player 2, show your ass what players do. Up, down, left, right, hit on with a strong attack. Yeah, I smoke the strongest back. Tell me what is wrong with that. More coins in the laundromat, you can't help but honor that. Jam man, make a man, more games in the Sega man.